There are some places in America that feel older than the country itself. The Appalachian Trail is one of them. It stretches across mountains that were already ancient when the dinosaurs were still figuring out whether scales were a good look. The trees out there don't just grow. They watch. And if you've ever hiked deep enough into those woods at night, you know exactly what I mean. This story starts with 5 friends in their 20s who thought they were smarter than the mountains. They were not. It was late October. Cold enough for your breath to hang in front of your face, but not yet cold enough to keep idiots indoors. And these 5 were definitely idiots. Funny idiots. Lovable idiots. The kind of people who call themselves adventurous when what they really mean is dangerously underprepared. There was Ryan, the self-appointed leader. Every friend group has one. The guy with a beard that looked like it had its own opinions. The guy who owned exactly one flannel shirt and wore it as if it granted wilderness immunity. He was the one who said, "Bro, imagine tripping on shrooms in the Appalachian Mountains under the stars. Life-changing." Spoiler alert. It was. Then there was Jess, sharp as a blade and twice as sarcastic. She had only come because Ryan had promised spiritual enlightenment and because she secretly enjoyed watching Ryan make bad decisions in real time. Marcus was the comedian of the group. Every sentence out of his mouth sounded like the setup to a joke. Even when he was scared, he was funny. Especially when he was scared. Lena was quieter. Observant. The kind of person who noticed things other people missed. And then there was Theo. Theo had never hiked a day in his life. He showed up in white sneakers. White sneakers. For the Appalachian Trail. That alone should tell you everything. They started just before sunset. The air smelled like wet earth and pine needles. Leaves crunched under their boots. Or, in Theo's case, under the footwear equivalent of a surrender flag. At first it was beautiful. Golden light spilling through orange and red leaves. The kind of scenery that makes people say things like "this doesn't even look real." And in a way, that turned out to be true. They hiked for about an hour before Ryan found the perfect clearing. A small open patch of ground surrounded by towering trees. No other hikers. No campsites nearby. Just isolation. Perfect. They pitched their tents. Built a fire. Laughed. Ate terrible trail mix. Marcus spent 10 straight minutes roasting Theo's shoes. Then Ryan pulled out the mushrooms. A little Ziploc bag. Dry, twisted stems and caps. Nature's weirdest prank. Jess looked at him and said, "Tell me you at least know the dosage." Ryan smiled. Never trust a smile like that. Vibes-based. Marcus burst out laughing. "Oh, excellent. We're doing pharmaceutical decisions by astrology now." They each took some. Even Theo. Especially Theo. The first hour was amazing. The fire seemed warmer. The stars brighter. The trees looked like they were gently swaying to some secret cosmic music. Marcus couldn't stop laughing because Lena had said the moon looked like a suspicious egg. Ryan lay flat on his back, staring upward. "Guys," he whispered. "I can hear the stars." Jess snorted. "No, Ryan. That's just your brain filing a complaint." Everything felt silly. Safe. Like one of those nights you remember forever. Then the lights appeared. At first, Lena was the only one who noticed. Far up the mountain ridge. 3 pale blue lights hovering between the trees. Perfectly still. Not moving like flashlights. Not flickering like campfires. Just suspended. She pointed. Do you guys see that? Everyone looked. Even Ryan sat up. Marcus squinted. Okay, that's weird. Theo frowned. Are those drones? No. They were too large. Too bright. And far too silent. Then, slowly, the lights began to move. Not in a straight line. Not in any way that made physical sense. They shifted in sharp angles. Instant stops. Sudden jerks. One moment they were 20 feet apart. The next they were stacked vertically. Then in a triangle. Then a line again. Jess stared. That's not normal. And that's when the forest went quiet. Completely quiet. No wind. No insects. No distant owl calls. Nothing. If you've never been in deep woods when all natural sound suddenly stops, let me tell you something. Your body notices before your brain does. Every instinct starts screaming. Something is wrong. Marcus swallowed. Okay, joke's over. Who paid for the alien light show? No one answered. Because something was moving in the trees. Not the lights. Something closer. Branches cracked. Slowly. Deliberately. Heavy footsteps. Ryan stood up. Probably a deer. Then came the sound. A voice. From the darkness. Ryan's voice. Probably a deer. Every single one of them froze. Because Ryan was standing right there. And yet his voice had just come from the woods. Marcus whispered. Nope. Nope. Absolutely not. Forest is haunted. I'm going home. The voice came again. This time Jess's. That's not normal. Perfect. Exact. Like a recording. But wrong. Slightly stretched. As if spoken by something learning how mouths worked. Theo's face went pale. Guys. Something stepped just beyond the firelight. Tall. Too tall. At least 7 feet. Humanoid. But thin. Unnaturally thin. Its limbs bent in places limbs should not bend. Its skin shimmered silver blue like static on an old television. And its face. Its face kept changing. For a split second it looked like Ryan. Then Marcus. Then Jess. Then blank. Smooth. Featureless. Like wet glass. Marcus let out a nervous laugh. Well. That's deeply upsetting. Then it smiled. Or at least, the face split in a way that suggested smiling. The lights above the ridge suddenly shot downward. 3 blue streaks tearing through the forest. And then everything went insane. The creature lunged. Ryan screamed and grabbed a burning branch from the fire, swinging it wildly. The thing recoiled, emitting a sound that was half static, half shriek. The blue lights circled overhead now, moving faster than anything human-made should. The mushrooms had fully kicked in by then. Reality itself had become slippery. Trees seemed to stretch impossibly high. The sky pulsed. Shadows moved in places no one was standing. Jess shouted. Run. And so they did. They bolted into the woods. Branches slapping their faces. Leaves flying underfoot. Theo immediately lost one of his white sneakers. Marcus, even while sprinting for his life, yelled. I told you those shoes were a liability. Behind them came the sound of pursuit. Cracking branches. That static scream. And overhead, the blue lights followed. They ran deeper into the forest than they should have. Far off trail. No path. No markers. Only moonlight and fear. After what felt like forever, they reached an old ranger shack. Or what had once been one. A rotting wooden structure hidden among the trees. Windows boarded. Door hanging crooked. Ryan shoved it open. They stumbled inside and slammed it shut. Everyone was breathing hard. Panicked. Theo was crying. Not loudly. Just the kind of quiet crying that means a person has met the exact limits of their emotional engineering. Marcus peeked through a crack in the boards. The lights hovered outside. Circling. Waiting. Jess whispered. What the hell was that? Lena, who had been silent this whole time, looked around the shack. Her flashlight beam swept across dusty shelves. Broken tools. And then. Newspaper clippings pinned to the wall. Old. Yellowed. One headline read. Unexplained disappearances along Appalachian Ridge. Another. Strange lights reported by hikers. And one from the 1970s. Military denies experimental aircraft tests. Ryan stared. Oh, fantastic. So the haunted forest has lore. Lena found a journal. Leather-bound. Half-rotted. Inside were ranger notes. The handwriting grew shakier with each page. The lights are not lights. They mimic voices. Do not follow them. They take shapes from memory. Then the last entry. They are learning us. Silence. Marcus whispered. I officially hate every word in that sentence. Outside, footsteps circled the shack. Slow. Patient. Then a knock. 3 taps. Soft. From the door. Theo whispered. Please tell me that's one of you. Another knock. Then Ryan's voice from outside. Guys, open up. Everyone slowly turned toward Ryan, who was very much inside. Ryan said, very quietly. Oh, that's bad. Then the thing outside started laughing. Marcus's laugh. Exactly Marcus's laugh. Only colder. Longer. Like it had been stretched on a rack. The blue lights suddenly flared bright enough to shine through the cracks in the boards. The entire shack glowed electric blue. Then the walls began to hum. Lena looked at the journal again. Flipped to the back. There was a crude drawing. A disc-shaped object in the mountains. Beneath it, words scribbled in panic. They are not visitors. They crashed here. They have been here for decades. Something slammed into the side of the shack. Wood splintered. Theo screamed. Another impact. Harder. Ryan grabbed an old hatchet from the wall. Jess armed herself with a broken chair leg. Marcus held a frying pan. Honestly, iconic. Then the wall burst inward. The creature stepped through. Only now there were 2. No. 3. The lights outside descended into the room and took form. Humanoid outlines made of blue static. Faces flickering. Voices overlapping. Fragments of everyone's speech. Old memories. Private jokes. Things they had said hours earlier. Things they had said years earlier. Lena stared in horror. It's pulling from our minds. Ryan swung the hatchet. It passed through one of the blue forms like smoke. The creature touched his shoulder. Ryan froze. His eyes went wide. Then he whispered. It showed me something. The others backed away. What? Ryan looked up. Terrified. Our camp. Everyone still sitting there. Around the fire. Laughing. Like they had never run. Like none of this happened. Jess slowly understood first. Oh my God. Marcus stared. No. No, no, no. The mushrooms. The lights. The forest. What if they had never left the clearing? What if this was the trip? Or worse. What if the thing had trapped their minds while their bodies still sat outside? The creatures stepped closer. Not attacking. Studying. Observing. Learning. Then one of them spoke in perfect human voice. Lena's voice. We are almost ready. The shack began to shake. Outside, the mountain itself seemed to rumble. The blue lights rose skyward. And through the broken roof they saw it. A massive circular structure emerging silently above the trees. Ancient. Metallic. Hidden beneath the mountain all this time. A ship. Not arriving. Waking up. Marcus, in pure panic, still somehow found time for one last joke. So, funny story, guys. I think the shrooms may have been a bad call. Then everything went white. When morning came, the search teams found the campsite. The fire was out. The tents were intact. 5 backpacks. 5 phones. 5 sets of footprints leading nowhere. And in the middle of the clearing, burned into the dirt, was a perfect glowing blue circle. No bodies. No blood. No sign of struggle. Just absence. The case was never solved. Officially, they were listed as missing hikers. Presumed lost. Presumed dead. But hikers still report strange things along that section of the Appalachian Trail. Voices calling from the woods. Sometimes their own. Blue lights moving impossibly fast between the trees. And every now and then, 5 young adults are seen sitting around a campfire deep in the forest. Laughing. Joking. One of them wearing only one white sneaker. If you approach them, they smile. And ask if you'd like to join them. Most people who do are never seen again. So if you ever find yourself hiking the Appalachian Trail at night, and you see blue lights in the trees, don't follow them. Don't answer voices. And whatever you do, don't trust the version of yourself calling from the dark. Because some things in those mountains are still learning what it means to be human. And they are getting better every year.